Hello everyone, this is Raju sir briefing you about the dissection of the scalp. We are approaching towards the cadaver. Here we can see the head neck face region of the cadaver, and this is the scalp region in which we can locate. This is the supraorbital margin, the extension of the scalp, scalp region, from the supraorbital margin towards, from anterior posteriorly directed towards the external occipital protuberance, and bilaterally we can see up to the ear you can see up to this level bilaterally both the sides. So it is extended up to this level. So this is whole region around this the scalp is showing is considered as a scalp, in which we have to locate the layers of the scalp, in which first we are able to see the hair here with the presence of hair, the skin region, the first layer, and with the presence of sweat glands and all, you can see the skin. And even in our body also we can palpate the skin, we can experience the hair and the shape. Sebum, sebaceous glands, sweat glands also will be located, and these are the hair. And look, compared to as we have dissected, and with the incisions starting point at the level of glabella, started from there and continued with the incision up to the external occipital protuberance is a vertical incision, anterior posterior incision, and horizontally from right ear to the left ear there is another horizontal incision, so that we could get the four quadrants of the scalp. Here we can see first we have reflected the skin of this anterior left quadrant, and we have made a point, meeting point, and from which we try to reflect the skin flap only. And the reflecting the skin flap, as it is tough in nature, thick in nature, and reflection is taking time, and we have reflected this way. We have reflected by using the scalpel and the forceps, tooth forceps, and in this way we had reflected the skin only. Just below it you can see it looks like a fascia. Whatever we have discussed and dissected so far, just below the skin we had seen the superficial fascia. Here in this case it is occupied by not only the fascia, fatty layer, it is also consisting of fibers. So that's how it has the tough nature. We can observe it even after reflecting the skin flap. You can reflect, if you try to remove the fat like the remaining areas, it is not coming out easily. So it indicates that there is a fibers. So totally the skin we have reflected. And regarding the skin, we know that the clinical aspect of the skin, sometimes we may find the psoriasis, ringworms and all, and we not find anything in this cadaver. And this is the second layer, this is a fibrofatty tissue you can find. This layer is called as connective tissue between the skin and the aponeurotic layer. Just below it we will find the aponeurotic layer, which includes the epicranius along with its frontal bellies of the skeletal muscle and occipital bellies of the skeletal muscle. Totally we call it as frontoccipitalis. Muscle will be there just below this layer. This is the connective tissue layer, the second layer. So just below it, and here we can find here and there the small black colored appearance of the blood vessels can be seen. And sometimes, so these are the blood vessels which are puckered with the help with the presence of these fibers in between the fatty tissue. So that's how it is called as fibrofatty tissue. So whenever there is an injury, these blood vessels will be opened because of this adherent fibrous tissue around the blood vessel. So this is what we have to understand about the connective tissue practically. Then we move to the another layer of the scalp, that is the aponeurotic layer. So as you know, the mnemonic of the scalp has the scalp itself is a mnemonic, SCALP. The S indicates the skin already we have reflected. Where at the second layer, that is the connective tissue, it's a fibrofatty tissue, so yellow coloredness and the little bit fibers, this a toughness indicates that it's a fibrofatty tissue. In a layer manner we reflect it again and we try to find out the aponeurotic layer, the third layer. Then we will find the loose areolar tissue, the fourth layer. Then the pericranium, which is attached to the skull vault itself. So now we'll go ahead to reflect the second layer, that's a connective tissue. Here we can reflect the second layer, that is the connective tissue layer, fibrofatty tissue layer. Then after reflecting it, you can find the third layer called as aponeurotic layer. A indicates the aponeurosis. So here we can see, along with its aponeurosis, the few fibers of frontalis muscle also can be seen. Few fibers of frontalis also can be seen. Here we can see the muscle fibers, the brownish color, few muscle fibers. As it is white in nature, it is brownish. So I repeat, so here we can find, we are reflecting it in the form of a layer, so it's aponeurotic layer. And again, here just below it, as we reflect, we can find there is a loose areolar tissue. Here and there we can find, while reflecting only we can experience it. This is a loose areolar tissue. After reflecting the loose areolar tissue, it is not possible to see this layer. So we have cut the loose areolar tissue, so not able to see the loose areolar tissue. So while reflecting we can experience it. So as we approach with the scalpel, so loose areolar tissue will be easily cut. Then the last layer, this is one which is attached to the skull, is called as pericranium. So now we have reached from inside to outside, so pericranium. Now we have reached the skull. We can tap it even, then we can experience, we can palpate the skull region, and the loose areolar tissue has been reflected, is not seen now. And this is the aponeurotic layer, and this is the, here we can see, this one is the fibrofatty tissue layer, the connective tissue layer, and this one is the skin. So now we recall the review the whole dissection. So first we have made the incision from the glabella connecting the external occipital protuberance anteroposteriorly, and we had given the horizontal incision from right ear to the left ear horizontally, and so that it can be made into 4 quadrants. Then each quadrant will be reflected in this manner. One quadrant I can show you. So with the presence of the skin, hair follicles and hair, you can see, so there is no psoriasis, no ringworms and all. So this is the clinically important one. Then we are reflecting it, so now we are able to see the yellow colored appearance. So with the presence of yellow colored appearance, we can say that there is a fatty layer is there, but along with that there is a fibers also there. That's how it is defined as the fibrofatty layer, the second layer. Then we have reflected the fibrofatty layer. Immediately below it we can find the aponeurotic layer. In the fibrofatty layer you can find the blood vessels here and there. The black colored appearance of the blood vessels can be seen, already we have seen. Then this is the area, so because of the adherent blood vessels with the fibers leads to the profuse bleeding. This is the clinical significance of the connective tissue, second layer. And the aponeurotic layer can be seen here with the presence of this one, the aponeurosis. extended bilaterally, both the sides, and in between the frontal bellies and in between the occipital bellies also. Here's wide an extension of the aponeurosis can be seen, and then after reflecting it, here we were able to see while dissecting. Now it is not able to see. So this way you can see loose areolar tissue. Then this is also dangerous area. This is considered as a loose areolar tissue is area considered as the dangerous area of the scalp because of its looseness. The bleeding will be entering in this area and the hematomas will be formed. Then here this area called as pericranium, and clinically this skin, connective tissue and the aponeurotic layer are considered as a together single layer, and the frontalis muscle also can be seen. So this is about the scalp and its layers dissection. Thank you very much. We will continue with the next dissection in the next dissection demonstrations. Thank you very much.